Welcome back, everybody, to Team List Tuesday. Vegas round, baby. How good is it to finally be back? Feels like it's been forever, but we are back with official NRL football. Round zero, I guess, technically, but I don't care what it is. We've got it back, and only the two games to go through this week. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly go through the team lineup, go through the changes for each team, and go from that. Moving forward, what this podcast will be about, this episode will be just talking about some of the key players, either have pressure on them or they're performing really well, giving some raps and things like that, and just sort of see where we go from that. There'll obviously be a lot more teams to preview in the weeks to come. But with just the two games, we'll go a bit more detail with it. So first of all, we've got the Manly Sea Eagles versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. That's Sunday for us in Australia, 1:30 Sydney on Standard Eastern Time. For us Queensland folk, that will be 12:30 for the kickoff there for Manly. So Tom Trbojevic is named at fullback. How good is it to see him back? By all reports, he's fully fit, speed's back. He's got all the confidence in the world in his body, so that's going to be fantastic to see. So looking forward to the fullback battle, him and Latrell Mitchell. We'll get to South Sydney shortly. Jathan Saab and Jackson Parlow get the wing spots, which means we've got Cooler and Ruben Garrick in the centers as well. So Garrick has had that confirmation of being moved to the centers. For a Supercoach point of view, I don't know how that's going to work for him. I don't know if that makes him less of an option. Probably mean he's less involved with the base stat work. So I don't think he is an option moving forward, but we will have our Supercoach side of things coming out very, very soon after this is released. In the halves, we've got Luke Brooks with Daly Cherry Evans. Really keen to see how those two work together. Really exciting times, I think, for Luke Brooks to finally go to a club where the pressure's completely off him. He can just play basically third fiddle. He'll have Turbo and DCE pulling the reins there, and he'll be able to just focus on what I think his best attribute to his game, which is his running game and support play. In the prop forwards, they've got Taniela Paseka with Josh Alaye. Lachlan Croker is your hooker. On the edge, we've got Ola Kawatu, and Ben Trbojevic is named for the 12. So he's won that spot. Obviously, we already knew that with Schuster not flying over with the squad was there at the trial on the weekend. Interesting to see what happens when he is fully fit. From all reports, Ben Trbojevic has been absolutely training the house and he is flying. And I believe he would have been named in this spot whether Schuster was there fully fit or not. I just think Ben has had that well of an off-season, really impressed everyone at the Manly Sea Eagles. And I think that's his spot to lose now. Jake Trbojevic at lock. Keen to see him ripping and tearing as he always does. On the bench, you got Carl Lawton. You got Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullymore, and Nathan Brown wins the 17 jersey after recently just becoming a top 30 player and actually being able to play for the Manly Sea Eagles. So he's been obviously impressing. Thought he was quite good the first trial week and got involved nicely at lock. So probably play in that prop forward role, bit of middle, see how many minutes he does get. The extended bench for the Sea Eagles, Jacob Arthur, Vega, Aaron Woods, Tommy Talau, and Brad Parker as well. So interesting to see what happens there. I'm really keen to see Talau in this Manly system. I hope he does get a bit of a run at times at centre. If, I guess, Parlo doesn't really set the house on fire, I can see Garrick moving back to the wing and having Talau move to that centre role. And I really keen to see how he fits in with Turbo feeding him pills all day, every day. That's about it for Manly. As I said, discuss sort of the changes as I went there. Let's move over to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So Latrell Mitchell fullback, Alex Johnston and Jacob Gagai is on the wing. So Gagai was obviously cleared, which gave us all the understanding that he would be named there. Isaiah Tuss and Richard Kenner are your centers as well. So unfortunately, it's nowhere near the star and the firepower that we were anticipating the South Sydney Rabbitohs to run out with. Round one, obviously, with some injuries and a suspension to Jack Whiten. That's not the case anymore, which is a bit of a shame. I would have loved to have seen both these teams backline go up against each other. But in saying that, it's still a decent – it's a backline that will get the job done. And with Latrell there, with Alex there. You can't write the South Sydney Rabbitohs off. In the halves, you got Cody Walker, Lachlan Ilias as well. So he's got the 7 jersey. I reckon he would not have that jersey under wraps, I don't feel like, for this season. I definitely think there's a little bit of pressure there. And there'll be a guy that's talking about on the extended bench who will be putting, I think, the pressure on him this year. Tavita Totola and Sean Kepi is rewarded for some really strong trial form that he had. He was playing some good minutes in that. He's been rewarded with that starting spot with Damien Cook in the hooker role there. The 11, Keon Koloamatangi, Jai Arrow as well gets that edge spot. There was rumours of Tallis Duncan. He may be on the bench. I have looked at this lineup before this, and I'm very, very shocked what they've done with Tallis Duncan. Let's just say that much. But Jai Arrow, not shocked at all. I actually think, for a Supercoach point of view, I think he's a great option, because what I anticipate happening, if he does get away from that edge spot after, say, the 20, 30-minute mark, he could probably go into that middle role for a while and then switch back over to the edge as well. Cam Murray starting at lock. Havili has got the 14 role. Interesting there. He's ahead of Peter Mamazelos, which I think's been interesting, but I do anticipate Peter Mamazelos to have a lot of game time this year. They've recently re-signed him for an extended amount of time, so he's definitely in the plans there. Jacob Host on the bench, David Moali and Tom Burgess is your bench. The interesting one is Tallis Duncan. We have heard all the things in the preseason, how well he's doing, how much it looked like at a time there he was actually pretty much locked in for a starting spot on the edge. I don't know if it's fallen out of favor or not, or if they've gone for a bit of experience in a big game like this. But yeah, he's the 18th man. So if there is a concussion, he will be used. Obviously, if that they do lose someone. Michael Cheekham, Shaq Mitchell, Peter Mamazelos, and Dean Hawkins is the extended bench. Here's the one I think will put a lot of pressure on Ilias. I'm a big Dean Hawkins fan. I love what he does, and there's a world I live in that I can see Dean Hawkins becoming that 7 for South Sydney by the end of the season. But I do hope Lachlan Ilias does well. I do think these younger players have a lot of pressure on them very, very early. Give him some time to adapt. I think this is the year that Ilias has been around for a few years now. He needs to cement that spot and make it his own. Interestingly as well, Cody Walker, he was under an injury cloud, so he is named. I guess it's a watch this space as well. We don't know what's really happening over there. Not as much media coverage as it would be if it was here. Not as much scrutiny. But by all reports, Cody Walker will be playing in this one. Next one, we've got the Sydney Roosters up against the Brisbane Broncos, 3:30 daylight savings time, 2:30 for the Queensland viewers. So Roosters team first up, which definitely has had some sticking points when it comes to thinking how this lineup is going to unfold, and we've now got our first taste, even though it's not fully, because there is some players out that we know of, and that will definitely come into it moving forward. So James Tedesco, fullback, Daniel Tupou, and Suali'i gets named on the wing in cover of Dom Young, who is out with that neck injury. Interesting to see what happens with Suali'i if he's the odd man out, because I have a feeling the centers, Billy Smith and Manu, will be there, and they're their first choice centers. So see what happens there with Suali'i. Luke Keary, Sam Walker are your halves. No surprises at all there. I'm anticipating a huge year for Sam Walker. I think he's in for one hell of a year. I think he's a sneaky super coach option as well, depending on the cash you have to play with, obviously, and if you can't afford one of the big guns in Cleary or Hines. Spencer Leniu gets that starting prop position. No surprises from me. I think he was you can't have it say it's signed that he was going to get that, but people are saying Jared Rio-Hargreaves. I think this season, Jared Rio-Hargreaves will be used in spurts to really get the side going when needed. I think he'll be coming off the bench, but could have egg on my face by the time he does return. He does get named to start. Brandon Smith, the hooker, Lindsay Collins, the other prop. This is where it gets interesting, because there was about 5 players trying to get into 2 spots here, and the winners of the edge spots are Sua Wong and Satili Tupanua. I did say last week to people who watched our shows that I loved what I seen from Tupanua the week before in the trials, and I think a lot of people forget just how good he is when he's fully fit. And by all reports, another player that's come back very, very confident with his body and how it's feeling. So I'm keen to see him rip in. Suo Wong is an absolute freak, guys. Like, I think he's a super coach, almost must now with the starting berth. His points per minute is unreal. His tackle breaking ability is unreal, and he's just an all round quality player. If anyone was to get dropped, it'd be Tupanora, I think, before Suo Wong. Victor Adley is your lock. Sandon Smith gets the 14 position, preferred ahead of Connor Watson. Interesting. All reports in the offseason was Connor Watson was basically permanent market in for that 14 role. That was his specific role for this team. And I actually thought he'd done a great job 2 weeks ago in that trial when he came on and provided some real energy for the Sydney Roosters. But they've gone another way. What else we got here? We've got Nafahu White on the bench, Nat Butcher on the bench with Terrell May as well. Then you got Palga. Angus Crichton doesn't get a spot on this team. He's on the extended bench. Egan Butcher as well with Zach Docker-Clay, and as I already spoke about, Connor Watson. So some big decisions there made by Coach Trent Robinson, obviously with the likes of Jared Weir-Hargraves and obviously Dom Young coming back. We still don't know the pieces of the puzzle fully yet. They would both be players that are influential and will be in the starting 17 somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the Roosters are full strength, if they get to that stage. We know last year they were injury-riddled the whole year, basically. For the Broncos, Reece Walsh at fullback, Jesse Arthurs, and Dean Mariner on the wing. So we heard all preseason, Corey Oates was training the house down, doing fantastic work. It was really exciting times, I guess, for Corey Oates, but while reports being back to his best. To be fair, Dean Mariner, and what I've seen from him in the last 3 weeks, because he's been in all 3 trials, he's been phenomenal. So even though Corey Oates has been training very well, he was part of that Maroons camp as well. I can totally understand this decision actually by Walters. And he was, as I said, he's been really, really good. Yes, it is in trial form against probably lesser quality players in a way, but from what he's done, I can't say no, he doesn't deserve it or criticize this decision at all. I actually think it's very well deserved. And look out, because he can play. He's a very, very talented kid, and I think he'll keep Oates out. Corey Oates out of this spot for quite some time at the moment. Katoni Staggs and Selwyn Cobbo in the centres. No surprises there. So definitely confirm that Cobbo is now a centre. Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds are your halves. Corey Jensen, Billy Walters, and Payne Haas is your front row. Corey Jensen does get that spot there made available by the departure of Thomas Flegler. Brendan Piacura has been named, guys. So great news from a super coach point of view. I think he's one of those must get into your 2RFs, and hoping his knee is fully fit and it's no late switches or anything. But yeah, fantastic to see him named. Jordan Ricky's the other edge forward with Paddy Carrigan at lock. Tyson Smithy is your 14. So they've got basically four hookers at the moment. So Tyson Smithy seems to be second choice at the moment. We obviously know very talented Moiser is in the back there, and looking to basically have his start when he's called upon. He still looks a little bit like there's some improvements in his game, but he's definitely showing signs of being that freak that everyone's talking about. Fletcher Baker, Kobe Hetherington, and Xavier Willinson gets that bench spot as well. So he's another probably Supercoach option, I guess. Again, I don't want to talk too much about Supercoach because we do have that episode coming out in the next day after you listen to this. So make sure you do basically keep checking your YouTubes and your podcasts, wherever you get it from, for that episode, because it's the one you do not want to miss. We will be releasing our team as well. The extended bench. So Corey Oates is 18th man, Jock Madden, Tristan Saylor, after a tremendous form, couldn't find his way into this team. And after you read it and look at it, you can probably understand why. It's still a very great team by the Brisbane Broncos. Martin Tapau and Jaden Hunt as well. So that's it for Team List Tuesday. As I said, only the 2 games went a bit differently with the setup that I really do want to have for this and make it a little bit different to just the stock standard. Everyone knows the lineups, etc. But just all for round 1 or round 0, it was good to just get out there, just have my thoughts on things as well. So get involved. Let us know in the comments your thoughts about all 4 of those lineups. If there was people that you thought should have missed out, or players that are unlucky to miss out. And yeah, again, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, all that. Greatly appreciated. It's all completely free way of supporting the page and League of Inches.